Okay, everyone, welcome back to Sabado podcast, and today we are going to be covering the Manchester Open highlights as well as the EGM that just occurred recently. So, just to kick it off, Mo and no, not Mo, sorry, Christian, Durance, and I were all there, and I believe Espen watched the entire thing. So, lads, open floor to you, all of you. Any comments, anything to say about the Manchester Open that just happened last
Where are
weekend?
we kicking it off though? We're gonna kick off with the girls, guys. How we doing it?
Just the
How
highlights,
do you want
bro.
to do it?
Highlights. Anything, the top takes from what just happened at the
Let's kick it
competition.
off. Let's just kick it off like category wise, I guess. Like let's kick off with the men's 66. Why not?
No, we're not doing that, bro. We're
No,
just
no, no, no. But
this.
just the base. Nothing too much. You know what I mean? Just
Uh,
like the winner,
okay.
and then we'll just talk about it.
All you then, 66. What's up?
Well, that's your class, Joey, man. I don't know. I've stopped being a 66 for a while.
I don't know. You seem to have a lot to say. You're the one that brought it up. So,
Yeah.
bro, by all
Nah.
means, yo,
I
crack on.
mean, for me, the 66, obviously, it was always going to be Kibria for the win. Obviously, he didn't disappoint. Did exactly what he needed to do. Just a bit disappointing with his, the goal was to get the A total. Obviously, didn't get that. Um, I don't know. His squats looked really good, but we all did say in the group chat as well that they looked fairly high. The only thing for me though is that his
When you
third
say we
squat.
all, when you say we all, you're including everybody else in this country. No, not all of us
Dur-
saying they were high.
Durance, you piece of shit. You even said it as well, so don't even start, right?
No,
But what I was gonna say was that his third
To be honest
squat.
with you, I was fighting all the time.
You're
Kibria, don't
what?
listen to
Those
him.
squats, Kibra, those squats were in. Whatever your hater is
No, no,
saying,
no, no, no,
ignore
no,
it.
no. I'm not hating. What I'm trying to get at is what I was gonna say. If you let me finish talking, right? I was gonna say his third squat was the exact same as the second and his first. I saw no difference from the front and the sides. So if the judge was gonna give reds, he might as well bond out if that was the case. But I saw no difference. Like that was me, anyways. His bench was obviously a concern. We all did say that that was going to be. I sound like I'm proper hating on him, but I'm not. I'm
I
just
was scared.
telling you guys what.
I
No,
was gonna say, my man
no, no.
said,
I'm
"All
not.
right, let's review the 66." Actually, now bend that. We're gonna just rinse Kibra as
No,
much
no,
as
no, no, no.
possible.
Then his bench is what we all spoke about. Like we all said, is it going to hold up? Obviously, in training, he was making good progress with it as well. Well, based on everything he was posting, he looked like he was doing good on bench, anyways. But we did question like, would that weight cut hit him? Obviously, it did, which is like an ongoing thing for him as well. His deadlifts look fucking great. His deadlifts look really, really good. Obviously, was it 270 opener or 275? Well, whatever it was, that flew, man. So it was good. Obviously, there are a lot of external factors as well from him. Obviously, he doesn't want to tell anyone, which we'll keep it privately. But he's got a lot of stuff going on as well. So when you've got a lot of stuff going on in life as well, training can also take like a hit. But considering everything that he's going through right now, he had a very good meet, man. Very, very good meet. I would say it was pretty good. Yeah, I don't know what you guys think.
I agree.
Nah, 66 was good. Kibra did his job. Unfortunately, he just missed that last squat. But amazing final pull. That was amazing to see. And unfortunately, the bench didn't go according to plan. But also the 74s, probably the highlight for me was the 74s. The battle between Dylan, Sam Dew, and Amari. Amari, well, there was a lot of hype from Espin. Apparently, we were going to see a 700 plus total the way you were talking. But Amari looked good. A lot of experience. Hopefully, the experience goes on this belt, becomes a better lifter. But his real progression is really impressive, and I'm excited to see what he does. But Dylan came out and showed out really. To squat 281.5 on your second attempt while vomiting, not a lot. I'm actually probably only Dylan can do that. So that was very impressive, and he's also hit the A total. So yeah, 74 for me was the highlight of the competition, really.
Mm.
Mm.
I was gonna bring it back to 66 real quick because someone here was saying a couple man was gonna hit 600 plus. Durance had a favorite, Fenyo. So any takes, bro? I know you look a bit busy right now.
no. I mean, you were just scared because it's gonna hit 600 again because
I
it's
was
total.
scared.
That's why you raised
Bro,
it.
in the preview,
And
you were like, yeah, Fenyo is good for
I was
600.
confident. I was
Fenyo
confident the
was
kid
good for
will hit.
600. What did he hit?
Look, I was confident it will hit 600 because I've seen his training, the way he has progressed, especially that deadlift of his. I was expecting him to pull 260, 265. but the 257 he loaded moved really well, to be honest, in terms of like coming off the floor. And if he locked it, he would have probably, we could have been sitting here saying, "Oh, he had a bit more." But again, I hit a bit too high by 600. But his training was going really well. But next comp for him, I'm not gonna doubt that 600. But again, talking about the Manchester, yeah, I'm not going to. I don't want to say anything to be used as a thumbnail or a controversial here for me to become another meme. But can you guys tell me who the hell loaded 120 kilo on the bench for Caribbean? Who did that?
His handlers, obviously.
So how can you load 120 kilo on someone that has like 122.5 kilo PB bench? Tell me, am I just in a different world, or are we all living in these powerlifting dreams?
So this is what I was trying to say to you. In training, he was hitting 120 fucking weekly. The guy was hitting 122, 125. Like his bench was moving good, but again, he was sitting a lot heavier. So, and Kibri has proven time and time again that once he does that weight cut, his bench drops drastically. So, my opinion, I would have thought he would have opened up with like something light. But apparently, he even said in the warm-ups he was feeling good. His last warm-up moved quick, so he was good to go. But
so Kibri let his coach and his handler down then, unfortunately. So because that's how I take it as, because come on, because that 120, the way he moved, I was just like, Jesus Christ, what the hell is wrong with this guy? He almost bombed out. But anyway, to just say he the biggest deadlift in the 66 in our country in the history, and that deadlift literally put out against some of the best deadlifts in the world, not just in the UK or Europe. So we're talking about in the world. So that was pretty impressive, you know. I think I reposted that, and Pana messaged me saying like, "Who's this guy?" I was like, okay, "That's another Brit that will come and beat you next year." So Kribia, you're listening to this, right? So make sure that you don't let me down.
So you're out here trying to give lies to panel. Okay.
did he say anything? Did he say anything about my 290 deadlift or that I hit at Southeast or?
I don't think he knows you, you know.
Bro, I don't think he knows you, bro.
I'm just saying. I'm assuming everyone forgot about that. But all right. Anyways,
My man pulled out the comp from 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I'm not letting that one die. I don't care. I'm going to tell everyone that.
I just quickly wanted to mention also, I think on the women's side, obviously there were other impressive males that happened, but on the women's side, I think Esther really was an amazing performance because she totaled 432.5.
Yep.
And I think that's like a 20, 30 kilo PB total. I don't know how big that total increase is, but she's literally only about 5 kilos away from the junior British record. You know, so her real progression is really insane to see. And she's only 20. That's insane. Like she's just gonna keep on smashing things. And also we also had Aquin in the 84 plus with that massive 251.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is the biggest. I think that's the biggest pool, isn't it, Christian? That's the biggest pool of the ladies in our country, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, another thing to talk about.
Christian, you're on the mute, bro.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, Christian, you're on mute.
Yeah, so just to confirm, that was a English and obviously British record. So she's a current top dog.
Yeah.
Any comments about the your respective weight classes, lads? The 93s for Christian, 83s for Durance, 105s for Mo.
Because Mo already spoke about the 74s quickly, I think it's best like just finish it off there. Like
go for it.
So you're going 74, Espin?
Yeah, I'm staying my ass at 74, man. And my body can't handle that 66 right now, but I'm dying. I'm dehydrated as fuck, bro.
Cool. Let's go, bro. Go for it.
Oh, yeah, I love what you done there, Durance. Yeah, prick. Anyways. It was the battle that everyone wanted to see. Obviously, there was a lot of hype in it. We all pretty much, I do it every year. I think it's my third year in a row now that I keep saying that Dylan's gonna fumble it, but he just keeps proving himself again and again. Scary part as well is that the only reason I always say that he's gonna come second or third is pretty much because I always feel like he's gonna do a huge weight cut, and then there's only so much progression that you can make. Because I was talking to him the other day about it as well, and that's what I said to him. But his lifts are all just fucking going up. Like his bench has improved a lot. His deadlifts improved a lot. His squat, his squat is a squat, innit? But he just keeps proving us all wrong, or proving me wrong anyways. But I'm just happy that he finally got that 8 total though. So like he deserves that, man, after last time. But
Yeah, so
and,
just
and
to interject there, I spoke to him after that about the weight cut, and apparently he's been sitting a little bit closer, so he doesn't have to cut as much. So obviously, the difference between his training and meet performance is less. There's not. I don't think that we're going to see as erratic totals from him as we have seen in the past.
yeah, no, but yeah, nonetheless, he had a good meet, man. That was his best meet. But yeah, very happy for him. Hopefully, he gets that Euro spot. Definitely deserves it. So we'll just wait and see in that. In terms of Sam Dew as well, Sam Dew had a good meet. Very unfortunate with that final deadlift. And as for Amari, obviously, yeah, I was hyping him up a lot. Not the meet that he wanted, but it is what it is. It's just a learning. It's just all the experience, I guess. Didn't hit depth in his second attempt. He had to retake it. His bench wasn't there, and then his deadlift wasn't there neither. One thing I did speak to him about this as well in private, and he's happy for me to talk about here as well, is one of the concerns, right? Like, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just from experience, right? I don't know if you guys have like taught other lifters the same thing or you've tried it yourself. But one of the concerns with Amari, right, was that he always deadlifts fresh, like on Tuesdays and on Saturdays. He never squats and then deadlifts. So every single one of his sessions is always fresh. So that was the concern that I spoke to him as well going into it. I was like, you don't know how your body's going to respond to it after squats. Because I think his heaviest was like 270 on squat and it fucking flew. But obviously it's going to fly, you know what I mean? Like, you haven't squatted prior to it. So he wasn't sure how his body was going to respond when he squatted first in comp. And I think that kind of proved to him that he needs to start doing that in his training, I guess, because he didn't really have the best of days.
Yeah.
He knows what
I think we all want big numbers. We all want to win. We all want the best that we can do. But the reality is, when you come to Amari's story, is the guy's added like 30 kilos on his total since 2022. 30 kilo is a lot of weight to add on your total. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not even a joke. You know, even if like you're a big guy, you're a small guy, whatever. So is this something where you don't assess the negative of your performance? You almost look at, where was I a year ago, where I am now. Do you know what I mean? So I think this is one of the things even I said on the chat with him when I was talking to him. I said, look, mate, 30 kilos in 1 year is a lot of weight. So as a 74, now is about 692.5. That's 692.5. But almost, if on top of my head, that's a number probably Espin never hit as a 74. But talking about the 692, that put him like realistically the third best 74s in the country. You know, in terms of at the moment, like the way things stand. So if the improvement carry on, he's young as well. So if the improvement carry on, why not next year to take that crown to go up against Dylan, where he can probably challenge Dylan, you know, and Sam Dew. So I can already see him beating Sam Dew next year if this carry on the way things are going, because 692.5 and 695 is 2.5 kilos. Do you know what I mean? And
Sam Dew won't like hearing this, but
that's why
Sam D is a solid lifter. Amari's
yeah,
real
well,
progression is very
I
impressive right
mean,
now.
Sam, if he's gonna listen to this is where he need to go back to that garage or to that gym thinking, I need to work harder, because these kids are coming, and when they're coming, they're not slowing down. And Espin, my friend, you're going back to 74. I don't know how you're gonna squat, bro. Or I have no idea. You might as well just buy new
bro,
dumps.
all I'm saying is Sam
So
Dew messaged me after that Manchester Open, and he was like claiming bigger numbers if he had like a better prep. I mean, all the power to him that he does it, but when I added up the numbers he was saying, I was like, yo, this is wild.
Yeah, but
So
that's the same as everyone else, though. That's the same as
but
I
Amari.
know,
Like, he had
I know,
numbers.
but
Everyone's got numbers.
go on, Chris.
I mean,
The thing is, the thing is though, he's been recovering from, I think, either a quad or adductor issue.
yeah.
So that's what it isn't just training numbers that he's pulling out in it. And just on your point, Espen, about the deadlifting thing, I think the moment, the prep, the speed of the competition, there are lots of factors that play into whether or not you should deadlift fresh or not. Your general fitness as well. So I think it's not usually too much of a problem for deadlifters unless they are going 9.5 RP10, similar to what we saw Enna do at the Euros, where then it affected his deadlift. But then again, by the time Worlds came around, he was able to squat heavy and deadlift heavy. So I think kind of it's a individual thing. It depends on the person. But the meet was very quick. I don't know how he trains, but yeah, there was a few factors to that. But for sure, it's looking like a very competitive lineup now, at least in the 74s.
Yeah.
Cool. This is the most exciting we're going to get. The most exciting 74s we're going to get in a very long time. And let's not forget people like my good buddy, Chris Wong. It might be part of the clique coming in. So this is going to be interesting. So the British are coming next year. Every single weight class will be stacked except my 83, which is probably going to have 2 or 3 people. But yeah, the reality is that's where it is. And talking about the 83, to me, again, I was so happy for Ade. He needed a meet. I've been saying this for years. Since he moved to the 83, he needed just that solid day when he will go in a 9 for 9. I wasn't really too fussed about what Ade will hit, whether it's 770, 800 or whatever. Me, I was more about just thinking, if he goes 9 for 9, how would that 9 for 9 will look like? And on the day, he was so lucky to have Christian on his side that if he's not the best in the country, I know who else is. So anyone that is against it can fuck off.
Yeah, I just want to say as well, Christian, those were good calls, because I remember you looking up after every single attempt going, yeah, that's 3 whites, let's move.
No, I mean, because I'm talking about from experience, isn't it? He did it for me in Salem after coming back from a horrendous world. 2 weeks later, the rest is history. So again, going back to Ade, it was more about, if it goes 9 for 9, how would that 9 for 9 look like? And then we want him to be healthy. You know, we don't want an Ade that will go in the mid, go all out and get injured. Do you know what I mean? The only things I was praying when Christian was handling me, I was like, Christian, you are an injury-prone guy. Can you not pass your bad luck to Ade today, please? Don't do that. So that's the only thing. That's why I was sitting on the front row. I was not even looking at me. I was just praying. But anyway, the guy did really well. He went 9 for 9, 777.5. That was, as they say on the Manchester Post, is the 3rd biggest total in 83 in our country in history. It's something like almost, it's a warning. It's a warning shot there, right? The way he did the meet went for him, for all the 83 in the country, including myself. You look at his performance thinking, yeah, he's coming. There's more in there. So it's not something like we are far ahead, or it's something like, oh yeah, he's going to come in and catch me tomorrow or next year, or someone like Kunz is going to come back if he can come back, or beat him or beat Kunz. No, it's just about thinking, if you give him a few more blocks, he's healthy, he'll be a hell of a good 83. You know, again, I think he's stronger than me. It's just like, he need that luck on his side. You know, I know you even jokes. I'm just like, yes, I got more kilos in me, but I think
too much is going on here.
Stop.
Wait, Jules, you need to calm down. Because you've gone over the limit. You're doing too much right now.
Let's just come on, man.
Bro, at his age, I was not that strong.
Calm down. Were you not the one saying they need to count your 6 totals that are above the 775 before you give him? You said he's got the 8th highest total in the 83s.
No, realistically, I was saying like, I think he has got the 8 or something, the 5th highest. But you guys explained to me it doesn't count like that. They don't count it like that. So I agree. Fair enough. He has the 5th highest.
Do you want to explain to the listeners, right, what you're like and what you said in the group chat? Just
so what I said in the group chat was, when they say, okay, people think how stupid I am, but I don't give a shit. I'm number 1 in Britain. Think what you think, all you want. But anyway, all I was saying in the group chat was, when they said Ade has got the 3rd biggest total in 83 in our country, I was like, hang on, that's not actually the 3rd biggest total, because I've totaled 787.5 twice, 788 once, right? And I've totaled 800, and now I'm 820. So how many total is that above 777? We're talking about what, 4 or 5 totals, right? So me, I was thinking in that respect.
Hit 790 at Wars as well.
Oh yeah, okay. I forget even the 790 because War don't count anyway. So to me, in my head, when I put all those totals together, I'm thinking about Ade total can't be the 3rd, because I've got like 4 or 5 that above that. But when they explained to me, apparently they can't only your highest total. So the other total that you total in your career don't count no more. So they're redundant. So they don't remember them no more. Even though you won British with it don't count no more. So yeah.
It's just the same person. But
Ade did well. Congratulations. We didn't need to do the extra that went for 5 minutes. Christian, what was your thoughts on the 93s?
Yeah, 93s, my bro, Christian.
To be honest, it was about where I expected it to be. There's a few good performances. Obviously, Will did what he was supposed to do. Posted 8:02, was it? 8:02 and a half, I think. Maybe someone can correct me if I'm wrong.
8:02.5.
Yeah, Hamza had a good day, and the rest of the pack were sort of fighting amongst themselves. I think, again, happy for any of them to, or you guys to correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the first time they've really been on a national senior stage, battling amongst one another. So it was just, I think there was a few technical errors that both Andrew, Tom, Harrison
Olsen,
they made that sort of, exactly, that kind of threw the cat amongst the pigeon, as it were. But as Juries just said, these guys, a lot of them are just coming out of juniors. They're fresh out of uni, around that sort of 23, 24, 25 age range. So it's going to take them a few years to catch up. But I don't really have too much to say, really, because it was just as we all thought in our previews, really.
Yeah.
I think if for me, I can add just 1 point on the 93. I think I would say congratulations to all the 93. You guys turned up and delivered. Right? There's a few of them in our nation that never do, but you guys actually showed up. So it was enjoyable and it was really good meet for me personally. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
What are you laughing?
Mo.
Christian just said it. It's the first time for them to turn up, isn't it, Christian?
105s. Let's go, Mo. Let's go. What thoughts?
105s was obviously we had CJ who won it, but I think there was a very interesting battle between CJ and Thomas. Tom
Brannick. Yeah.
Tom Brannick. Yeah, my apologies. I think Tom was fairly close to winning that. A few technicalities on CJ's side, but CJ's still very young. I think this is his second year in powerlifting. So the rate of progression is really impressive to see. He's got that monster bench. So it was a very interesting battle between both Tom and CJ. Obviously, Mike Tennant just fell a bit behind because I think he's been dealing with some injuries. So I think we overestimated the numbers we expected for him on the day. But overall, happy. It was a good, fun battle, and it was a nice one to watch.
Any thoughts of when CJ did the
crown thing? See, what happened was I'm always, when I'm squatting, I just notice things. The worst time for me to see something is when I'm squatting. So I saw the crown thing, because I saw in the meet happen. I was like, I didn't really know what's going on. And then on social media, I saw it again. And then I started thinking, I've not even placed the crown on myself. Because obviously, last Nationals, Mr. Somewhat won it. And I've not beaten Somewhat, so I've never actually placed the crown on myself. So I thought it was a bit... what do you call it? When preemptive? I don't know. It's not. You're not at the stage yet, but you're
it
good,
meant he was
strong kid. So.
He was the king of Manchester World Cup. So to me, I give it to him because he at that
moment
Ade
was the king of Manchester.
Until Ade left, he was the king of Manchester. So give it to him.
No, Durance, you were there though. You were literally helping load CJ's attempts. What did you think? Did you notice that he did the thing as well, or?
Yeah, I noticed that. No, I got shocked.
No, hey, Espen, don't, bro.
Durance, you look like someone forced you to be there, though, bro. No, honestly, it's like
it's just
I'm not. Like,
why do I get slaughtered at this? It's just my
demeanor. No, whoa. Nah. We didn't ask you to put that face on when you were on the stage.
I didn't put a face on, bro. It just was just a reaction for what was happening in front of me. Do you know what I mean?
You look not impressed. It's like someone forced you with a gun, bro.
I literally, man. I think I literally thought I'm gonna eat my words in terms of when we did the preview, because the same numbers I gave CJ, the same number I gave Brannick, the same number I gave other people. When I reach Manchester, I get people telling me like, "Oh, your numbers. Where did you get these numbers from? You know, let's see what's gonna happen today." I'm just thinking, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be embarrassed on that platform today." So, the guys, the guy that competed did a really good job in terms of like they went all out, right? They gave us a show. Was I impressed with this show? Yes, because it's okay. Let's put it straight. The advertised Manchester as
You were
having the
impressed
best.
with the show.
Look, let me put this
It was
straight.
impressive. To be fair, like it's not world record breaking levels, but it's
Yeah,
fairly
it was
impressive for a
impressive.
standard
No,
meet.
I'm asking because his face said otherwise right then and there, live and
No,
direct
that's
on
how
the
you
platform.
interpret my face, my reaction.
That's what
Your
everyone
interpretation is
interpreted it as.
different.
Don't
Yeah,
don't
that's
single me
everyone. That's
out.
not me. Anyway, me
Okay.
guys, anyone who's listening to this, I was happy. I'm powerlifting. I love powerlifting. Everyone
Yeah,
that lifted even
it
2
clearly
kilos,
showed
I
it
love
at
seeing it.
that platform. Yeah, it did.
Can you just leave me? Can you let me be, please?
Okay.
Jesus Christ, I'm the one that was on the platform. Where all of you guys? You know,
Watching
you
your
never
face
give,
on the platform, that's
Bob.
where I was.
You never give back to your nations. You don't help.
I
So
don't.
you know,
Okay.
please. Anyway, all I'm saying is the guys that delivered, they did a very good job. The only caveat I will say, Manchester was advertised as a competition that will have the best lifters in the country. No, it did not have the best lifters in the country. Right? Let's get this straight. But it had okay lifted, good lifters that performed really well, that we're all proud of. That we all, some of us will sit here thinking the British next year will be exciting because of what these guys have delivered in Manchester. You know, not because the reason I'm saying this is because I have good friends internationally that watch Manchester. They were asking me, why you're not on that platform? Why there's no more on that platform? I was just like, oh, we're prepping for the Euros. We're meant to be the All England. So almost like I have to explain to them what Manchester was. But the way Manchester would advertise, they thought all the Brits, the big names, will be there, but we didn't turn up. That's why I was getting these questions. That's what I'm trying to explain to people that listen and thinking I'm bitter. I'm not bitter. It's just that we have good lifters, but we did not have the best lifters in the country. But whether it was a good meet, yes, Kim and Jacob delivered a very good meet.
Yeah, no, they
So
above and beyond, bro. I was there and I was thoroughly impressed. Anything else for highlights? Want to bring up?
Just to mention, quick one for 120s and 120 plus. So we had Bo, of course, that came in. Everyone was expecting literally like fireworks, which he delivered on that squat. He broke the British record 351, which was really amazing. Yeah, and benched. I think I'm on top of my head. What Bo bench probably that's his PB, isn't it? That's his comp PR or comp PB, something like that. So he's almost to just say he's coming back. So next year the British in the 120s will be exciting. It's just his deadlift did let him down a bit. I don't know why. I'm gonna have to ask that and see what happened on the deadlift, because we all watch it, because 330 is not a number Bo should be struggling with. It's someone that pulled 360 before. So yeah, apart from that, it was a very good show for him, you know. And AJ, again, I think I did back AJ to win. I think one of the things I said to AJ was whether he's going to hit the 930, I wasn't too sure. But again, he blew it out of the water. Do you know what I mean?
Smoked it, bro.
And literally, he taught, what did he taught? It was in 950. So he taught 950. Mo, your
mic's a mute.
950.
Yeah.
Yeah, he taught 950. And yeah, on the day, he had 970 because that deadlift, the way he moved, that second deadlift.
Oh, yes, because he slammed it.
Yeah, I think if I just want to make a comment on that, to any young lifters watching or going to be listening to this, when you watch AJ's second deadlift, why did he fail? It's because you can't slam the bar like that in front of the referees.
Well,
you can't
it
do
wasn't
that.
Like you can slam you need to show control. So he threw it.
It's the control.
He threw it. Yeah, he didn't control it. He didn't control the bar.
He kind of let go of it. So
yeah,
you can do whatever you want to do. Obviously, slam at your own risk, because the more you slam, the more risk of tearing your hand is going to happen. But letting go of the bar is not allowed in the sport.
So he had a very good meet, very amazing meet. Like 950. Again, as I said, I keep on saying the 970 was there, and I'm sure he will probably be looking at that 1,000 kilo next year or so. And it's not going to be out of reach for him because you can see the strength is there. And he's young as well. He just came back from injury, by the way. So all of that is just playing to the factor that the improvement will be going. So yeah, that's me there.
Cool.
I just quickly wanted to mention though, on the women's side, obviously we had Akwin who did amazing performance with that 561, and apparently she said she wasn't even peaked. She just wanted to come up, show out, and said that she can do this any day, any time, any week. I can total this. Holly also did an amazing performance with that 470, slowly getting closer and closer, I guess, to our Bobby, to our one and only Joy. I think Joy holds the world record, holds the GB total record in that weight class.
63.
No, Holly is 69. No, Holly is 69.
60.
Joy, that's I think that's Annie and Taz.
Oh, that's Annie and Taz.
Taz,
Taz will have the. Oh yeah, my mistake there. And then also Toyosi, amazing performance. Literally her second meet was handled by our one and only Christian down there. So that was amazing to see in person or by the live stream. And also mentioned Esther already, and Mo Winker also had amazing performances. So all round, great performances both on the men and women's side altogether.
Yeah.
But to me, I was more impressed with the women though. The women, the blue out.
I was just literally about to say that because Mo earlier he said that Esther's total PB was like 37.5 kilos. Some of the lifting in the 76 prime time, that's going to be really good at the British. And then obviously the 84 pluses are there. We already have good 84s. So honestly, I think I enjoyed the men, but definitely a shout out to the women because I think the gaps weren't as the women were deeper at this championships than the men. And
I saw a lot of loading, like pretty much similar across all lifts.
Yeah. So the women definitely deserve a big shout out because they're doing a lot.
A massive shout out to Emily also with that new score record for GB with the 200.
Yeah, that was
amazing.
Huge.
That was amazing.
You know,
and it looked good.
I mean, even our brother here, Joey, cannot struggles to hit that on some days, you know. So.
Anyways, moving on. I just want to a shout out to some people that didn't do so well at the comp. Actually, I know Caroline, she bombed out a bench. All things considering, she just competed a week prior to that at the European bench press champs. It happens to the best of us. I know Durance has bombed out. I've bombed out before, so.
Hey, come on! I bombed out once. The first British.
I love how you had to throw Durance in there right before you.
What the hell? Why do you have to throw me in this one?
Because prior to that, I said it happens to the best of us. So yeah, Durance, just take the L, bro. Small L.
No, that still hurt me because my coach was a dick. Do you know what I mean? And I bombed. It wasn't my fault.
Who bombed out first? Who bombed out first? Was it Joey?
Joey went first.
He went for you after then. 100%. He made you bomb out. 100%.
Hey, just to clarify, I wasn't the one sending the attempts in. Durance, you can clarify.
Yeah, but Joe, you went first on the squat, and I bombed out on bench. At least I didn't survive the squat.
No, but I just want to clarify that I wasn't the one handling or coaching.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. We all bombed out, so let's just leave it there. You know, whether you're handling or coaching, I'm your athlete. So yeah, I bombed out, guys.
Right.
Joey coaches me.
Hey, quick question though on the Manchester, right? How was the because you guys were there? How was the whole setup and everything? Like, how was the meet? Was it quick? Was it slow?
It's probably the best I've ever seen in GB.
It was so quick. I was on the platform. It was so quick to the point where Jacob asked me to say, "Look, you need to slow down a bit, for these people because these guys are no elites like you guys. You know what I mean? They're not used to it. So almost like all the things you guys were seeing on live stream, me busting jokes, it was just because I wanted to slow a little few seconds. That's how quick it was.
So wait, you just contradicted yourself just now. So they either were the best of like in GB that had to offer, or they're not as elite as you lot. Which one is it, bro?
They're not as elite as us.
Okay, cool. But
that's why we had to slow it down. That's what I said. That's what I said in my statement. I said Manchester did not have the best lifters in the country. They had the lifters they had good lifters. That's what I said it.
Just not
Yeah.
elite lifters. Okay, cool. But yeah, no, just to answer your
everyone's
question.
different. Everyone's doing well. Yeah, you guys did amazing. Congratulations.
Exactly. Jesus, just because Joey didn't do it and he missed the production, because I'm not gonna lie though, that place where the Midway was host, that place looks amazing, right? And the production, everything, the work they put on that thing is amazing. By the way, guys, Kim, Jacob, thank you very much for my fees. I got my money for volunteering. So anyone that thinks is not gonna get paid, when you volunteer in these meet, you get paid. So I got my money.
I got paid.
That's
a couple of days ago as well.
Do you not get paid? Yeah.
Yeah.
Expenses. Let's not expenses. Let's.
So what if Mo went? How do you expense a walk? You can't expense walking, bro. Wait, Mo, you'd be fucked.
We'll figure it out.
Hey, no. Hey, Mo, see what I mean? Yeah, you send for me. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. Anyways,
let me. I want to jump in with something about Manchester Open, because I think it was what do they call it? An inflection point where things had been a certain way for a long time, and I was thinking to myself, these guys actually, not in a bad way, but these guys won't be able to appreciate fully the magnitude of that kind of meet, because I think all of us here have competed internationally. So to some extent, we are used to the speed, used to the setup, used to the professional atmosphere and logistics, all of that. And I was thinking to myself, wow, some of those lifters might have to wait a long time to be able to experience that again. Whereas for most of us, we have that 2 or 3 times a year. So definitely another shout out to Kim and Jacob. And I think it's definitely, for everyone that lifted there, it was a very good taster for those that have aspirations of competing internationally. Because I think the biggest criticism that people had was that the warm-up room, the waiting area was a bit warm. So for us to be able to, for Northwest to be able to host a championship where the worst thing people say is that the waiting area was a bit warm, is a really good big achievement. And I think all of the pictures, the videos, it was as good as, if not better, in reality actually, than what they see on Instagram and online and stuff like that. So
yeah, and my biggest take is that after watching that and what the capabilities are in GB now, is that I hope that the quality of like nationals onwards would be of the same caliber, if not better, from here on, because that was honestly the best I've ever seen, production wise and organization wise in GB I've ever been to. And we've all been in the sport for a good half a decade now, and I believe you guys can agree with me that this is the best I've seen ever.
Yeah, they've definitely put pressure on whoever's gonna host the next British.
The British,
I wouldn't want that job.
The British next year, like some of us will go to the British not to lift, just to look at the production.
Well, lads, on that note, I think we can move on now to the next big topic that we have. I know Mo and Christian were there. I know we're discussing now about like the production levels of nationals and the potentiality of it. Mo and Christian were at the EGM. That's just happened very, very recently. So guys, I know you guys took down notes. I know Mo did especially. So any notes, top takes for the listeners that we have with regards to the EGM?
I could just quickly go through, and then whenever Kristen wants to add his extra information, we'll do just to provide some clarity as to what was actually voted on and the little things that were mentioned during the EGM itself.
Bless you.
First of all, is Tony is the new interim financial director for GBPF.
Tony Cliff.
He stepped up. Yeah, Tony Cliff. He stepped up to take that role as an interim until we find someone who is willing to come to the role long term. And with him stepping up to do that role, some of the things that he said he started working on is the external audit that everyone's in the federation has been asking for. So this has been organized by Tony Cliff himself. A company is going to be handling it called, I want to say it's Quayside and Co. or Guayside and Co. I can't remember the specific name, but
Quayside
the
and Co.
company, yeah. So that company has already been reached out to. It's going to cost roughly about £5,000 to do the external audit. So that'll be done.
Plus
All the
VAT.
financial records. Sorry.
Plus VAT.
Plus VAT. So that'll be external audit done hopefully within the next few months, and would have a clear view on where we are financially and what's been happening within the federation money wise. Also, he really wants to modernize the current financial state we're in. A lot of things are done via Excel sheets. He wants to move that to an actual platform, and also give door authorization to the account. So it's not only one person who has access to the money in GBPF, but actually I think directors and co-directors will also be able to see what's going on finances wise, more clarity and transparency, and also more consistent updates of the financial statement. Obviously, it's not going to show, hey, we bought pen, we bought crayons, this. It's going to be a simplified version, but if anyone wants extra clarity on what's been paid for, you can always reach to Tony and he'll give you a clearer version of the financial statements if needed.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
so he's just to add on to that. I think he said the software is going to be using is Zero, and they're hoping to produce quarterly financial reports. I think that's what was mentioned.
That sounds good. So far, so good. Yeah, Mo, continue,
and
please.
Also on the PayPal fees, is obviously was a huge point in the last AGM. So Tony Cliff is currently in negotiations with both PayPal and Stripe to see who can offer him the best rate in terms of transaction. So hopefully that should be finalized pretty soon. So he'll know whether we're still staying with PayPal with a much better transaction rate, or we're going to move over to Stripe, who will be able to offer something a lot better.
Yeah, because the transaction rate was costing the federation what, 7 grand a year?
It was something like 74p per every transaction. I can't remember.
Yeah.
He gave us a number of 57.
I think I'm not sure exactly what the number was, but it was something like 2.75% plus 30p per transaction or something like that. So obviously very, very expensive. He said that he's trying to get either of them to half that at least. So
okay, cool. Because at least that way, a good portion of that will be funneled towards the audit, at least. Yeah. Anyways, Mo, continue. Sorry. Oh, and just to clarify to the viewers, Durance and I sent over our proxy votes to Mo here. For anyone that's not familiar with proxy votes, it's when you give someone that will be attending, someone like Mo, or someone that you can trust with your votes, with a similar viewpoint as you, that can vote in your stead, and you'll email one of the board secretaries, as well as Mo, your digital copy of the proxy vote that you signed. So that's why we chose Mo, because I'd like to think we have a similar viewpoint. But anyways, continue, Mo, sorry.
And then just quickly to round off through the introduction, Tony also mentioned the financial budget will be reviewed, because we currently don't have one for 2023 because one wasn't agreed on at the AGM. So we will have some sort of extended or towards the end 2023 budget with a 2024 budget, but that's behind on Tony's priority list right now. His priority is obviously this PayPal feels and the external audit and modernizing our current financial structure. And then also we have some surplus, some numbers we're throwing around. I will mention these numbers, but obviously do take them in consideration, because an external audit will happen. And then based on the external audit, we'll actually know how much in profit we are. But roughly, Tony said we're roughly about 350K in surplus in GBPF right now. So we've got a good amount, a healthy chunk of money in the bank. Also, we've been able to have some sort of surplus from the last 2 quarters. Because we overestimated how much we wanted to spend on drug testing. Obviously, we haven't actually used that amount of money yet, so we've made some profit there. And then also we want to review the interest rates we have in our savings accounts, because as of now, we've got like a lump sum of money just sitting down in an average account that's giving us maybe 1.252% interest rate when the inflation rate is 6%. So in theory, we're actually losing money on the right now. So things like these are going to be looked at to see where we can also invest, whether we even decide to take that money out of a savings account and actually invest into equipment for the sport and buying things right now, just due to the inflation rates and the whole economic crisis and everything.
Yeah.
So first motion, we can just go motion by motion, or is there any motion that anyone's interested in? And I'll just...
No, motion by motion, bro. Let's go.
So, motion by motion, the first motion that was obviously voted on was a wording within the British PF documents. So first of all, I think the paragraph goes such that British Powerlifting Federation is striving for formal recognition for the sport of powerlifting, but from governing bodies within the United Kingdom, aka saying that our goal is to get recognition from international or from the UK government. But an argument was put that, hey, we already have that recognition. We already have the NGB status. So this no longer is a goal we should be chasing for. Well and truly, our goal should be we're chasing tier 1 and tier 2 status. So there was a motion to change that paragraph to say that the goal now is to ensure that British powerliftings are compliant with all aspects of the Home Nation Sport Council tier 1, with a view to strive towards elevating to tier 3 to transparent governance and regular outside auditing. So there was a motion. We just wanted to discuss those intricacies. And then a few things were thrown about saying that, hey, we want to be more focused on getting that tier 1, tier 2 status. We need to make this unified across all our documents and everything.
So can I just interject there? So for the people listening at home, paraphrasing here, but now that we are the UK's NGB, National Governing Body for Powerlifting, and we are now recognised by Sport England, they have certain levels and criteria that you have to meet and we have to be accepted in order to get different levels of funding. So when Mo's talking about tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, those are the different levels of that we can achieve that will allow us or give us a better chance of securing funding from Sport England.
Yeah. So this paragraph, we did talk about it. There was discussion. Some people were a bit worried about saying, hey, changing the paragraph doesn't really do anything. The UK Sport England doesn't just hand out money, without a strategic plan somewhere. Who's going to run this strategic plan that we're saying that we have as a goal right now? But I think overall, everyone kind of decided, hey, we are in unity in the sense of we need to start saying that we want to achieve tier 1 and tier 2. So let's just have this everywhere. So the motion was voted for in the end. And then the next thing we had was the second motion was about the length of time director could serve on the board of British Powerlifting, which was 20 years. This kind of seemed like it would go forward in the beginning, but unfortunately there was an amendment made to the proposal. So as of now, a director is allowed to serve for no more than 20 consecutive years. This would mean that in reality, due to NGB status, we're supposed to have a director not serve for no more than 9 years. If we have one who can serve for more than 9, we're not able to get tier 1 or tier 2 because we don't meet the criteria. Yeah. So this is something that needs to change irrespective. But during the EGM, an amendment was made to this request, and a term changes everything. So we'll try our best, me and Chris will try our best to explain it. But what they wanted to change it was that no single director must serve for more than 8 consecutive years on the board of British Powerlifting. An amendment was made to take out that consecutive. AKA consecutive, first of all, means that 8 consecutive years means I could serve 8 years, take a 2-year break, and come back and serve another 8 years, right? No more than 8 consecutive years, or 7, right? So they wanted to change it to no more than 8 years in total. That was the amendment they wanted to make.
Okay, now, cool, right.
To remove the word consecutive. That was the amendment.
Yeah, because then
so the amendment made.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, so the amendment made was to remove the word consecutive, which means that anybody that's serving would only be able to fulfill an 8 years, and after that 8 years, you could not serve on the board any longer.
Yeah, I guess that would remove like the potentiality of someone like serving for 7, put someone else in for a proxy of 2 years, and then come back in for another 7. Because yeah, I get that.
So it's like just playing dictatorship, but with a break every single time to go on holiday.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the problem with this now, once we actually delved into it, for example, you might have someone who comes onto the board, they're a lot younger, they served their 8 years. They've gone out of life, maybe 10, 20 years later, they're a lot older, they have a lot more time to invest, and they want to come back into the sport with a lot more knowledge. They wouldn't be able to come into any capacity. at a director role. Now they could come and support or non-executive role, that would be okay. But it also now brought another problem in the sense of this, if we put this rule forward, it might actually affect people currently on the board. So one of the members on the panel has actually served over 8 years. So if we pass this right there and then, he would have to step down well and truly because he had exceeded the 8 years on the
Kevin
board.
Jane.
Kevin Jane, exactly. So there was a bit of lack of clarity on whether we wanted to use the consecutive or not, whether a lot of people made the argument that, hey, we want to be introducing new talent consistently. So this would motivate board members to train up people to take up their roles in the future. But some people also said that, hey, why would you look to get someone new when you already have someone with the highest skill level for the job who can do it a lot better? So there was a bit of back and forth there. A lot of people weren't exactly sure. I think the consecutive term made things a little bit more tricky as to how to guide it. Because literally, if we voted for it, someone that was stepping down straight after that meeting, a few people are going to step down straight after the meeting just because of that term.
I mean, okay, look, if their fear is that, say, for example, Mo, you were in for 7 years, you stepped down, and because of the stipulation that is the complete total you can serve is 8 years and you can never come back again, I'm pretty sure if the following, I don't know, AGM, a bylaw can be placed in, with a motion to say that, okay, someone cannot come in to assume the same role within X amount of years. So say, for example, you serve 7 and then it's been 5 years already, you can, try and get that same role again, like with all the factors that you said, like, they have the highest level of experience, they've, they have more time in their supposed life to like contribute more into the sport. But I am all for like not having someone consecutively assuming the same role, because I mean, like, again, like ideas get like newer, fresher ideas get shot down. I mean, Durance and I have experienced this. I'm pretty sure Mo, you've experienced this too. Whenever you've come across like how the AGMs went in the previous years, so it's nice to have a fresher person there with different set of mindsets and not be stifled into that one sort of like, I don't know, trajectory that we're in, if that makes sense. But yeah, so
No,
I guess that's just my take on it.
I think it's important for people to realize that all of this is geared towards attaining a certain amount of funding from Sport England.
Yeah.
So their criteria, that is desirable, it is a desirable criteria from Sport England, is that no board member will serve more than 9 years. So
cumulatively or consecutively?
Cumulatively.
Okay.
So in their eyes, because they work in terms of our kind of sport, weightlifting's kind of sport, because they work on 4-year cycles, they do 2 4 years and 1 year as an interim period to be able to so that someone can shadow, someone can learn from the role. So obviously board members on British powerlifting, their term is 3 years currently, right? So I think I'm correct in that the idea would be that people can serve 2 terms and have up to 2 years in post to be able to teach someone the role.
Okay.
Now,
so kind of like onboarding and shadowing and everything.
Yes, yeah. So that you pass on your skills and experience to someone else, the next generation, so on and so forth.
Okay.
The issue here is that it isn't that big a deal that this didn't pass now, because we aren't going for tier 1 right now. At some point in the future, if we want to get funding, we will need to change how we're operating such that we meet the 9-year criteria. However that may be, it's just for the moment, I think what I ascertained that the fear was, or the worry was in the room, was that we may not be in a position to be able to fill all of the board roles to the required standard, or to a good standard, or with the best personnel.
Okay.
So we didn't want to shoot ourselves in the foot.
I get that. I just wanna inquire though. I'm pretty sure the board has been aware ever since like we've achieved was it the NGB status? It was last year, I
Yes.
believe, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So it's been a whole calendar year since they've been aware of that, and not once have they pretty much assumed, well, we need to achieve X tier one status, and these are the stipulations that we need to fulfill. And ever since
So
then, they've done nothing. And then
one
obviously,
thing, one
No,
thing
but
to throw in there though, one thing to throw in there is, I think based off the EGM today, it was hard. So the best way to describe it is, and the UK Sport England recommends and says it's desirable that the 9-year term is in place. It's not an actual requirement. Although, so that's one thing, it's a desirable thing. It's not a fact. It's not, if you don't have this, we don't give you any money. It's a desirable thing to have there in your federation. Now, the other thing is every other sport or every other sport federation that does have this NGB status in tier one has this rule in place, right? So it's a case of, it's not yes or no, black and white, but every other one who is in the position you want to be has this rule already in place, right? So some people on the British, I think we did notice a lot of the older members were arguing that, hey, you're really pushing for this 10-year, 9-year thing, but it's not really a set in stone thing. While the younger or the new guys, the Ben, were arguing that, hey, yes, it's not set in stone, but everyone else is doing this. So
looks good.
it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, the whole thing, irrespective of the details, is about presenting the best possible case to Sport England so that the federation have the best possible chance of attaining funding, in a nutshell. So that's what all of these sort of conversations were about.
okay.
So overall, unfortunately, we only had about 69 votes. We needed 81 or 80 in order to pass the motion, but it wasn't passed due to the amendment. I feel the amendment just made people sway the decision in the moment. And then this is obviously going to be a priority at the next AGM to vote on, because it needs to be voted on before we apply for tier one status.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next points, please.
And then the next point is, this one's a bit of a cluster. So we have dispensation for all military BDFPA approved referees and current military BDFPA members. Now, the best way to give you some history is, with us getting the NGB status, the Army, Navy, and the Air Force need to come over to British powerlifting, because it's in, well, I know for the Army, at least they told us that it's within the requirements that whatever sport federation you have in the Army needs to affiliate themselves with whichever federation has the NGB status within the nation. So aka, as of now, the military is affiliated with the BDFPA, but as soon as British powerlifting got the NGB status, the military powerlifting is supposed to move over to our side. But they have not done that as of yet. Only the Navy has. So Navy powerlifting has joined British powerlifting. Now, here's where it comes, because all the next few motions are passed because basically Ben and James want to make it easier for the military powerlifting to come over. They have to come over. That's one thing to identify here. They have to come over because it's their requirement. They need to, but they've been hesitant, and they could probably potentially take 2 to 3 years to do that crossover. We want them to cross over now, so we gain those extra members. We look like a bigger federation, and we look more presentable when we go and apply for that tier one status, basically saying, hey, we're a big federation. We have the Army, we have the Navy, we have everyone we need to have right now underneath us. Give us the money. That's basically what we're trying to do. So within this, as of now, currently, British powerlifting has a rule that you need to, I think you need to, when you cross over federation as a referee.
Hey! Sorry. Sorry.
Did he just go on mute, bro?
I thought Espen was in Ecuador again.
Why does my webcam always go dark? It's like, I promise everyone, I do pay my bills, I swear down.
Turn the light on, bro.
Yeah, one second. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Mo,
so,
continue.
As of now, I believe as a referee, if you want to cross over federation into wave, so this is pertaining to referees first of all and members. We'll talk about referees first. So as a referee, if you want to cross over from the BDFPA to British powerlifting, you need to have you need to be in the federation for about 2 years. and then you can apply to be a British powerlifting referee. Now, first of all, they want to waive that 2-year membership requirement. So this is to entice, because I think the military is going to be having the inter-service competition within the next 2 months. If we don't waive this 2-year rule, we would have to send British powerlifting referees over for them to be able to host the meet, because their current referees would have to wait for 2 years before they can become British Powerlifting Federation referees themselves and support that meet themselves. Right. So we want to waive this rule, aka so we don't have to send a bunch load of referees over, and then they can train up, or at least we can certify that, hey, the referees are up to standard, give them the British powerlifting title, and let them carry on with the inter-services in 2 months.
So
okay.
just on that point, so they will still have to take a British powerlifting exam and pass that. It's just that to be eligible in the first place to take that exam, you need to have been a member of GBPF for 2 years. So those people in BDFPA who already are referees or who have been part of that federation for 2 years, that requirement will be waived. They will need to sit the online exam, which is in the new format, and then I think it's 23rd of September or something like that. Then they'll be able to support themselves essentially.
Yeah. So
what's you guys take on that? Because
so we will show the loopholes and also arguments, because in reality, if we don't do this, if we don't waive this 2-year membership thing, we need to send a lot of referees down their way.
Yeah,
they can't host the inter-services. It's not going to happen.
It doesn't make sense not to, really.
So I feel like you have to waive the 2 years, because if not, the military can't host their own meets until 2025. Well,
they still have to pass the exam. don't
so they
just...
can only sit the exam, not even host. So they can only sit the exam in 2025. So it
okay,
is a long one. But so that's the first one. Because this has 3 things within this motion. The second one was the inter-services championships to be treated as a national championships for officials, in that it counts as championships towards their free membership. This will come in later, but aka they wanted to also offer free membership for the military. But I think this will might be mentioned in the point later on. But we basically decided that, hey, we can't keep on giving them the inter-services championship as a free entry.
If I just on that point, there's an important distinction. So currently, if you officiate at 2 or more national events, you get your membership free. So that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about competing. It's just officiating. So that's where this free membership comes from.
Okay.
And if inter-services counts as a national event, that will at least, tick 1 out of the 2.
So that was changed to only, rather than it just be a national event level thing for the whole time, it's only going to last until 2024. So a time stamp was put onto this. It's not going to be forever. It's only going to be to a certain period of time, 2024. And then the 1.7, which is a bit more problematic to say, was that the inter-services championships to be granted national status and selection for national teams to be available from these championships, aka meaning that inter-services, the military or the Navy competitions will act as a qualifier for international team selection. So that got redacted because a lot of people were not happy with that. They didn't want the inter-services to be like a bypass or an easy dispensation to make it international team. So that got redacted from the motion itself. So that was taken away. And then British military records registered to be established, aka they keep their own records. You have your 83 kg British powerlifting army total record. That's not a problem. That's just admin. So overall, the motion was voted on because a lot of people agreed with the fact that, hey, we need to waive away this 2-year ban. 1.7 was redacted. So inter-services will absolutely not count towards international selection. And then a record will be established for them to hold their records within the Army, Navy, and Air Force. And also officials will be able to at least use the inter-services as a qualifier for free membership up until 2024. After that, it's back to normal for everyone else, or for them.
Cool.
Whew. And then the next one up was armed forces to be given home nation status and afford the same financial commitment as all other home nations under the following transitional arrangements. Overall, first of all, the main problem was a lot of people were not happy with the fact that the armed forces was going to be given home nation status, aka they're their own home nation country. I believe, if I'm correct in saying that, Kristen. So people were not happy with that. You can't have British Army powerlifting sending its own lifters, and then everyone. If you're a person in the British Army, but you're from Ireland, then go compete. Let Ireland send you as a lifter. British Army can't send you as a lifter to go to home nations themselves. So that basically got scrapped because nobody wanted to give the armed forces home nation status to send their own lifters or do their own thing. And also the financial commitment that they wanted was free membership for 2023, 50% off for 2024, and then normal payments from 2025. This was basically given to entice the army to make that switch quicker. But since people were not happy with the home nation status overall, no one also agreed with the financial commitments that were offered for the army.
Okay.
I think there were no main points that were made on this that I think are worth discussing. Yeah, that was cool. One thing that people did mention though, in terms of like getting the army into British powerlifting, was drug testing. A letter was brought up by someone external who had sent an email to Richard Parker saying that, hey, you don't want the army in British powerlifting. But that person was a BDFPA member themselves. So there was a lot of question as to, hey, is this guy actually... It kind of sounded like he was saying, hey, I've got, you know what, if you've got like, hey, I've got a bag of coal, this bag of coal is terrible, you don't want to buy my bag of coal, it's awful, but I want to keep this bag of coal for myself, that was kind of the letter he sent out. So a lot of people listened to that and just ignored it basically and said it didn't make sense, like, because he tried to say that they're not 500 plus members. A lot of the people in the BDFPA might be using drugs because they've had about 8 drug failures already. One person was caught for popping already. So you don't want all this trouble. Leave us alone and leave me with my BDFPA members.
Yes. So just to provide some additional context, I think I forget the name of the individual, but he holds, for want of a better term, and because I can't remember, he holds an executive position in the BDFPA and in the military. So the undertone of this email was in an attempt to, I'm going to say, discourage us from taking them on. And this email was giving reasons why. This email was providing a list of the problems that we would encounter when trying to integrate the army into the federation. But as Abdul said earlier, the armed forces, the navy, the RAF, the military have to be aligned. If they are undertaking any sport and there is an NGB body, they have to align themselves with that NGB body. So a lot of this is just moot, and these last few motions were just to almost soften the blow, make it easier for them to come across, make that transition smoother and cheaper. So that's what really some of this was about. And so obviously this individual who has vested interests appeared to be trying to make this process a little bit more difficult than it needed or it needs to be.
And
All
then
right.
I'll just quickly wrap up the last few ones because these ones were voted on fairly quickly. Military powerlifting to be given a representative board position. This was downgraded to a non-executive board position. Everyone was happy with that. Hey, get some representation if you're going to be part of us. So everyone voted on that to go through. And then British powerlifting.
Just to quickly interject again, just very quickly on that point. So the setup will be that is similar on Bucks. So Bucks organizes their own championships. They do everything that needs to be, and then Nathan will be the intermediary on behalf of Bucks to the board. Sorry. So when this transition happens, they will host their own championships. We will appoint a non-executive member, and that individual will communicate with the board as an intermediary.
Cool.
Yep. And then the next motion was British powerlifting to assist all regions and division in helping deliver the 2023 Inter-Services Championships. This is for the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force whenever they host it. But divisions already do this, so there was no need to vote on it because they'd already got in a yes from divisions saying that they're happy to do this. In fact, they're going to do this if the British Army gets into British powerlifting. So that was passed. And then another one was a motion from Kimberly saying that, hey, it takes too long for the AGM meetings to come out. Roughly it takes about 3 months as of now. We want it to be done. Yeah, the minutes. Yeah. So we wanted to pass a motion saying it'll be done within 14 to 21 days. A motion was passed for 21 days. But obviously this depends on the board because it's the board that's going to release the minutes themselves. But they said that they're going to try and hold themselves accountable to that 21-day, aka maybe 25, depending on if there's a double Monday. There was some discussion about leeway here and there. But overall, the idea is that we want to get this minutes out as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, I think this is one which we might find actually influences us going forward. It was just some discussions about the layout for the head coach payment. And also British Powerlifting has said that, hey, we're going to reimburse coaches and referees. Unfortunately, there has been an incorrect payment back to the head coaches and referees because things were not worded correctly. Kimberly said, hey, we want a simple format. Tell us how many days we can actually do. Tell us what we can claim, and don't let it be down to the board to decide that actually we're going to reimburse you for working days. Not if you travel the day before, we're not going to pay you for that. We're going to only pay you for the day you're handling. But it's not realistic because I can't fly out on the day I'm handling. So there was that. There was that discussion. We decided that Kimberly and another lady was going to handle the documentation and provide this policy so that British powerlifting can be held accountable, and also the head coaches and referees can be held accountable to know that what you're actually entitled for. But Tony mentioned a very interesting fact that is, as of now going forward for internationals, the goal is to have British powerlifting pay for hotels. But what this happens is once the hotel is paid for, lifters will have a fixed time slot to pay back British powerlifting. Now, this ideally should be before final nominations. If a lifter does not pay before final nominations, they either risk getting fines or even having the name rejected from the team, or honestly, the accommodation just being cancelled and you just sort out yourself when you get there. But British powerlifting, I think, have just decided that it would be better to, rather than having last minute bookings and lifters handling the booking themselves, they would try and block book hotels for athletes where possible. And if an athlete wants to be involved in that process, and then lifters will be required to have a payment done by a fixed time. So hopefully that's a good
towards British
motion
powerlifting,
going
yeah.
forward. Yes,
That's
towards
pretty
British
sick.
powerlifting.
So that way, no one's out of pocket. It's like for a certain amount of time. It's just, it's just all handled for us or for you guys when going to internationals. That's perfect. Fucking
Yeah.
perfect.
So there was that discussion, and then, but obviously that all depends on everyone receiving the invitations on time. Things need to be in place and structured. People need to know the hotel they're staying in. We can't have like Euros where the hotel doesn't have rooms, So hopefully in situations like this, we can block book and have everything sorted out. And I think there was
just to interject again. Yeah. So Tony's, one of Tony's main objectives was to put a timeline together for even 2 years in the future. So we know which comps are when, where they are, final nominations, so on and so forth, even expenses for the head coach and up to 3 referees. So we have policies and procedures in place to make sure that everyone has clarity. They know what they're going to get. They know in terms of lifters, they know what's expected of them in terms of what they need to pay and when to the federation. And in terms of the head coach and referees, they know the amount of subsidy, not payment, subsidy they will be receiving for the nights that they make themselves available, or for the days they make themselves available for international championships in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just about putting together a policy and a process around that. I think Kim and Charlie, Marilia, I think, is they're going to assist the board in creating those documents.
Just a quick question, Christian. Was there any discussion about, the block bookings for lifters being sent out to the internationals, whether it's a set number of days for the entirety of the team or just individuals depending on the day that they're competing?
I think the block booking, what I received was that the federation would make the block booking. Obviously, the lifters and the head coach would communicate what the requirements of each lifters, because some people can only go out for 3 days, other people want to be out there for 10 days. That's fine as long as the federation book it. Then the lifters will pay the federation, so everything's done via the federation.
Good.
Yes, yeah. So I think which most people would agree is that is the best way to do it, really. So everyone knows their expectations, and the Fed isn't out of pocket.
Cool. Any other points moving forward that were discussed, or was that all the points from the EGM? Christian.
Is Mo still there? I think there was one more.
Mo had to go. Mo had to.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So Mo was the note taker, but there was one more around putting in place another set of policies and procedures for the quiet focus competitions that have been on in, is it West Mids?
Yeah.
And one in Greater London. So there was a little bit of a discussion about how this would operate and whether it was even required as a motion, because they appear to have been quite successful and have brought new people into the sport. But there were some, not concerns, there were some points raised that these competitions are targeted towards people who have certain mental health disabilities and are also, well, maybe not together, and or are on the neurodivergent, sorry. So it was a success for that group of people, and for those that just want that lifting environment without the bells and whistles, no loud noises, no shouting, no ammonia, no music, so on and so forth. And there was a couple of points raised to say, well, to question whether or not this was needed, because we do comps for, people that have physical disabilities and other special populations is the PC term, I think. So why couldn't we, just carry on doing it? But I think this one, I think, is it Gigi and James? Gigi put together has put together a pack that explains how to put on these competitions and what's necessary, extended or additional DBS checks, all of these sorts of things. So that motion, in spite of those additional questions, ended up being passed. So I think that was about it from the EGM.
Okay.
So, Christian, motion 9, I guess that was put in the bin because the guys resigned already, right? in terms of removing the CEO and all of that. So,
Yes.
so that means nothing was discussed there at all.
Not in regards to not in regards to that. So the only discussions, there wasn't any other business. There wasn't any discussions about any other any of the motions that weren't, or sorry, any of the motions that were redacted. So as you say, point 9, because the board, Richard has already stepped down, that was null and void. So we didn't even touch on that. I think I'm probably going to be wrong on this, but I think the assumption is that obviously Tom and the current board will take it through to the next AGM, and then I think there'll be a vote, will there?
Yeah, there'll be an election next year.
Yes, exactly. So this is that'll just be what it will be. But obviously, there are things that need to happen between now and then. That doesn't matter who's in charge. Need to happen.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for the federation to function.
Yes.
Okay.
Lads, any other top takes from what we've just heard?
So, I mean, I think everything that I've heard, I think it's good for the Fed. It's good for the future of the Fed, what's happening, what's going on, and what we're fighting for. And yes, this EGM to me was more about, I was more interested before Richard, of course, in the end resigned. This is probably was one of the main reasons this EGM was called forward. And I'm not discarding the other motions that the military, the silent thing, me and all that stuff. I'm not discarding all of this stuff, even the new interim financial director. But the main focus was on the vote. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Whether the boards will be voted, voted out, or over whether we're going to vote the new guys coming in, which, again, I can easily say that we had GBS and Ben here. They were campaigning to potentially be the team that will take us forward to that
in the interim. Yeah.
In the interim basis. So, yeah, I agree with everything that's been amended. I'm glad that some of them have been amended, made a little bit sense, because when you read these motions, I wasn't there, to be honest. I read these motions, I was just thinking, like, this is a lot of bollocks. Do you know what I mean? But the amendment made some of them really clear for me to understand. That's what I was noting in my head when you guys were talking, which is like made it clear. So yeah, hopefully April we'll get that vote that is needed.
And yeah, I'd just like to thank Christian and obviously Mo, who's just left now, for clarifying for us as to what happened with EGM. My biggest hopes are, yes, the moving forward, people in place will get us that tier 1 from tier 1 status from sport in England, because that will be a huge injection of like funding for the sport in itself, not just for the lifters, but for the entire professional body in itself.
I think as well, just one little bit there, Joey, to add to the listener is this has proven to us lifters or people member of GBPF that the federation belongs to us. If we want to decide about something, decision will be taken and things will be taken forward. People just can't assume that, oh, we can't vote, we can't say nothing, we're not heard of. This EGM was called forward is because the members, they put their voice there, they asked for it, and it came forward. So in the future, if there's something the federation or the members we're not sure about or we don't like, we can always call for things like this and it can happen. So yeah, just a comment there.
Yeah. But yeah, again, to the listeners, thank you for listening. I know this has been, half and half, stories of two halves about the Manchester Open as well as the EGM, but I hope both have been as entertaining as they have been informative for everyone. So yeah, we'll catch you on the next podcast. Thank you again. Thanks again for listening. So from everyone here, until the next one.
Peace.
Peace.